Yes. Thank you. That's weird. Okay. So good morning. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Happy this day of your life. My thought for you that I've been working with this week or really contemplating is that, we understand that the purpose of yoga, or the kind of what we say the goal of yoga is realization, right? Self-realization. So whatever other ideas you had about what the goal of yoga is it all melds eventually into that, right? You can have whatever other goals or ideas you want, but it ultimately is all leading to that moment where you realize that you are a soul, right? That you are an embodied soul, right? That you are that energy that is infinite, that is undefined, unconditioned, and that you are experiencing this moment of being in relationship, right? Being embodied. And we forget sometimes in the body or in this experience, because we think that we're supposed to somehow fix what's going on so that we can feel a certain way, and that that's our interpretation of what peace is, or what happiness is, or what bliss is, or what all of that is. And then we constantly end up disappointing ourselves because we can't create infinity out of the experience of the mind, out of conditions. We can't do it. But what we can do is we can remember that the entire purpose of the practice is for you to realize that that infiniteness is happening right now, right? That the embodiment is not a blockage to that. It's the way for you to understand that. Because how can you experience infinity if you don't have reference, right? How can you experience everything if you don't have reference, right? Relationship. So your embodiment is the opportunity to understand your infiniteness. And we get caught often in yoga, especially, right now the world is continuing always in a crazy place. And we get caught in thinking that we have to keep doing things to try to improve this experience of the body. We have to improve it so that it's something we like and something we want, and that, it'll somehow fix this world that we're in. And it will, but it won't do it through you thinking that I've got to improve this and fix it. Instead, you're understanding it. Right? Instead, you're looking for the moment where you yourself understand how to get out of your own traps, where you don't believe yourself to be a soul, where you don't believe there to be the ability to step out of your restrictions, your conditions, your suffering, right? So we're practicing all the time. So the realization is that that downward flow of energy that we call embodiment and that upward flow of energy that we call liberation is the same path, right? There's no difference. So we're always practicing this concept. And what I've been saying this week is to come back to this awareness, or maybe pick up this awareness that your practice ultimately is for you. Your yoga practice is not to make your life better. It's not to improve so that you're a quote better person. It's not to fix the problems of the world. It's not to bring about world peace. It's not for any of that. It's for your realization. And through your realization, all those other things will come, right? So the practice very much is for you. So do it for you wholeheartedly, right? Where there is nothing in the way of your pure desire for you to know peace, for you to know bliss, for you to know that you are a soul in this body, and that whatever this body feels day to day is not a detriment, it's not a limitation, it's not a lessening of that soul. And if you can do that for you, everyone else benefits. Right? You have to do it for you. So comfortable seat if you're not there already. Let the eyes close. And let yourself breathe a little bit deeper. Right, the practice of yoga is really the practice of awareness. It's not the practice of hamstrings. It's not the practice of back bending. It's not the practice of sore necks. All of those things factor in, but it's the practice of awareness. So as you're breathing, follow the flow of the breath up the spine on the inhale, down the spine on the exhale. And we do this so that the mind and the breath can become unified, that there's a feeling of effortlessness, that they are together, that the breath moves, the mind moves. The mind has something to follow, a rhythm to follow that's not its own thinking. Breathing your breath up the spine, exhaling it down the spine. And then begin to allow that as you inhale all the way up the spine, that breath or the flow of energy that follows that breath goes up above the crown of the head and just fountains out and down as though you're sitting in the middle of a fountain. And the breath itself or the energy itself rises out of the crown of the head and just flows down all around you in all directions. So the exhale is now that flowing outward of all of that energy all around you, inhaling the breath up the spine, through the top of the head, fountaining out all around you. And whatever that energy appears to be, you can imagine it as white light, you can imagine it as sparkles, you can imagine it as gold, you can imagine it as nothing, just breath. But some awareness that the energy, the flow of breath flows up the spine beyond the crown of the head, fountains out all around you. You are immersed in it. This is the energy of the Crown Chakra, that it does not stay static in one place. It does not exist in one place only, but that it is constantly flowing energy down through this embodiment. You don't begin at your root. Your awareness of your embodiment begins at your root, but what you begin at is your crown. You are born of that. Not struggling to achieve it, you already are it, immersed in it. So you feel the flow, the breathing all the way up, the reaching for it says, I remember, this is what I am. Unconditioned. And hold nothing back from that awareness. Don't wait for somebody else. Don't wait for things to get better. Don't wait to lose weight. Don't wait. Breathe it in now. You have one thought, one desire. Let it be for your own enlightenment. Wholehearted. Let nothing stand in the way. With the next exhale, you may keep this visualization or not. Bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. We'll open with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can release your hands, please. And then go ahead and come forward onto your backs. Could be good or bad. We'll see. I know, with the requests like of sciatica stuff and core work. It could be anything. Lying on your backs. Good. So on the back, please. Arms alongside you. Good. Just do a little rocking on your pelvis, forward and back. So the knees stay bent. You're just rocking the rocking the pelvis forward and back. So little pelvic tilts. Good. So you're not lifting your butt up off the floor. You're just tilting the pelvis. So it's a little arch of the spine, and it's a little curl of the spine. A little arch of the spine, curl of the spine. Good. Try not to squeeze your butt while you're doing it. Try and really work through the muscles of your back. Good. And exaggerate the direction that seems difficult. So again, don't try to just move yourself through it fast because you think that that's what's going to get you somewhere. Is move yourself through it very consciously. Good. So that you're actually feeling the pelvis rock. You're actually feeling the pelvic bones and the thigh bones relating to each other. Good. This is also helping to awaken the back muscles, right? As you're rocking the pelvis forward and back, maybe exaggerate the arch of your lower spine, so the forward tilt. As you exaggerate that tilt, you're actually squeezing, right? You're dragging that tailbone down and back, so you're squeezing into the lower spine. Good. And then find what feels like neutral, please. Keep your feet underneath your hips. And then as you inhale, lift your hips up off the floor into bridge, stretch your arms up alongside your ears. Good. Hands find the back of the floor behind your head. Good. And then exhale, release the hips down, release the hands down. Good. And continue like that, inhaling, lifting the hips up. And exhaling, releasing down. And as you do this, again, it's not a forcing the hips up to your limit and then dropping them down to the floor. It's moving with the breath. So as you're inhaling, the body is rising up. Maybe it never hits that point, which is the limit. And then as it exhales, it softens back down. And maybe you never fully drop your weight onto the floor. That's fine. You're moving with your breath. So as you're inhaling, you're rising up, extending, broadening through the body. And as you exhale, you're dissolving. You're letting everything drop back down to the floor. So let the movement become fluid. Let the breath become fluid. Good. Again, watching that you are engaging not just your butt. So you're not just squeezing your butt here. Good, but you're pressing down into your heels. You're feeling like there's maybe a squeeze of the back of the thighs. Good. Nice, you guys. And then the next inhale, as you lift your hips up, pause there, hold for a moment. Good. So you can keep the arms overhead if you like, or take the arms alongside you with the elbows bent for robot arms since you're holding for a couple more breaths. Up to you. So use the arms for support if you need. And then if you're pushed all the way to your limit, again, drop the hips just a little bit and start to do those little pelvic tilts again, almost like you're trying to do a little baby cat cow, but your hips are still lifted in bridge pose. Good. So keep weight in your heels. Feel like you are dragging your heels towards your butt towards your heels, but then rotate, right? Pelvic tilts in bridge pose. Good. We'll work your butt a little bit in this position, but really focus on your tilting the pelvis forward and back, not just up and down, forward and back, tilt, arching the spine, curling the spine, arching the spine, curling the spine. Don't go up and down. That's not the point. Good. Nice, you guys. And then slowly release, rolling down the spine. Let the hips come back to the floor. I know. Good. Draw the right knee in towards your chest, please. Let the left leg come out down to the floor, straight leg. Good. And then circle that knee. Start to make circles with that knee. Good. So you're rotating, again, the thigh in the hip socket. Good. And then rotate it the other way, please. Good. Nice. And then draw that knee straight in towards your chest, holding around the front of the knee so that as you squeeze in, you can press the shin back against your hand. So press back like you're trying to move your thigh away from your belly. Good. And then draw your belly in and try and drop the right side of your pelvis, the right side of your sacrum down to the floor. So you're decompressing, right? Thigh moves away from the belly moves down and back away from the thigh. Good. And then hold behind the thigh, please. So release that and then extend that right heel up towards the ceiling, pressing the thigh still into the hands. And same thing, right? The thigh is still moving away from the belly and you're drawing the belly down and away from the thigh. So really feel yourself rooting down to that right side of your sacrum. Good. Nice, you guys. Press that thigh into your hands. I want to be able to see the difference when you're pushing. So if you're on Zoom, you have to really exaggerate so I can see. Good. Stretch up through the heel. Yeah. Good. And then bend the knee back in towards your chest, please. Bend your left knee so you can take your right ankle over your left thigh. Right ankle over left thigh. And then left shin comes parallel to the floor. Reach through to hold. Selena, just switch your legs so that the right leg is over the left. Switch your legs. There you go. Nice. Relax the shoulders, please. And still you're pressing that thigh into your hands and then drawing your belly away from the thigh, pressing down through that left side of your sacrum, through both sides of the sacrum, but the left side needs a little bit more attention in this position. Good. So you see a theme here, right? Where I keep asking you to really push into something, because that resistance is what helps a lot of those internal muscles find reference, right? How they shift their positions or how they get activated is through resistance. We have to have something to push against, right? You've heard me or someone say this 1,000 times, I'm sure, that your resistance is a powerful tool, right? For change. It's a powerful tool for enlightenment. So this is the concept of embodiment, right? If you didn't have those other beings to push up against or to become aware of yourself, as you would not have as deep a capacity to be aware of yourself, to be aware of the soul that you are. So this practice of, can I push against something and internally become so aware of myself, is that's why we're here. Can I become aware of my bliss because there is this challenge or that challenge that's showing me how big my bliss is? It's not limited to one time, one moment. Good. One more breath here. Drag your legs in. So bend that left knee more. Start to pull the thigh in towards your belly, but keep that feeling of still pressing down and wide through your sacrum. So the knees draw in closer to the belly, but you're still trying to draw the navel in and go wide through your low back. Good. And then release the thigh. Please cross your right knee all the way on top of the left. Separate the feet. Reach for the ankles or the shins. Om Mukasana legs. Good. Flexed feet, please. And then even though your feet are wide, right? That's the position, is the feet are wide. So let them go wide. Press the thighs against each other and then feel like you are trying to squeeze the feet back towards each other. So they might not move in space much, but that squeezing the feet towards each other, again, helps to activate a little bit more muscular energy. And then try and spread your sit bones wide, right? Spread your low back wide, navel in. Awesome. And then release the legs, stretch your legs straight up towards the ceiling, both legs. Good. Draw the heels away from your belly just a little bit more. So again, you have that straight line, 90 degrees. Most of us don't go immediately to 90 degrees. We have the legs too close to the belly because that's easier. Move your thighs away from your belly. Good. If I see you go too far, I'll let you know. I haven't seen you go too far yet. Good. Arms out wide, letter T, palms facing the floor. So you can press down. Draw your low rib cage down and in. So it's like you're trying to take that curve or that arch out of the upper back. I know we usually don't say it that way, but really draw down through the back of the shoulder blades. Good. And then let your legs move to the right just a little bit. Good. And keep your left rib cage rooting down to the floor, down to the floor, down to the floor. Good. And then bring yourself back to center. Let the legs lean to the left just a little bit, keeping the right rib cage down to the floor. Be really serious about it. Good. And then back to center, please. Let the legs go to the right again, keeping the left rib cage rooted down. Good. Come back to center. Let the legs go to the left. Keep the right rib cage rooting down. Good. Back to center, please. Beautiful. Hug the knees in towards your chest. Good. Scoot your hips over to the left. Drop your knees to the right. Spinal twist. Nice. Again, stretching that left arm out and wide. Good. And then here too, draw your low rib cage in like you're still trying to bring that back of your rib cage down to the floor. So hollow the front of the body. Draw the belly back away from the tops of your thighs. Draw your hip points towards each other. So you're actually feeling like you're hugging in through your low belly. Good. Nice, you guys. Twisting, even supine twisting, is facilitated by or happens because of that internal engagement of your navel and your back. Good. Bring yourself back to center, please. Nice. Left knee comes in towards your chest. Stretch the right leg out down to the floor. Hug that knee in. Make circles. Probably will get off the floor today. I'm not entirely sure. We'll see. Good. Move your circles in the other direction. Good. No, but the joke is, of course, is that whatever you walk into class with is that that's what you practice with that day, is that it's not the design of the practice that you're trying to fit yourself into, is that you use the asana, the pranayama, the meditate, you use that for you. So if you're walking in with sciatica, you practice for that. If you're walking in with a crazy mental state, you practice for that. Hug that knee right in towards your chest. I know that's every single time you're walking in with a crazy mental state. Hold in front of the shin, please. So you're squeezing in, and then press the shin back against your hands. So again, you're getting into this feeling as you push the shin away, your belly's drawing in and you're dropping through that left side of your sacrum. So you're trying to actually press down through the lower back from the activity of your belly. So this itself is a little bit of core work, right? Good. And then release that, hold behind the thigh, extend your left heel up towards the ceiling and press your thigh against your hands. Again, use the resistance. Good. So your arms should have a little muscular energy where you're trying to keep your shoulders as dropped to the floor as possible, as wide on the floor as possible. But then press your thigh against the hands, move the thigh away from the belly, draw your belly back, hollow it away, and really press down through the left side of your sacrum. Good. Nice, you guys. Press that thigh into the hands and then press up through the underside of the heel. Nice. And then press down through your lower back. Good. I think we forget this. We think that we're going to practice to make the things that are bothering us go away. And maybe they will, right? That's what coming back into balance generally creates. But we have to start with what we have and be practicing for that purpose, is to make it easier to experience the fullness of you, instead of getting distracted by, I have this injury, that issue, this problem. Good. Hug the knee back in towards your chest, please. Squeeze. Good. Bend the right knee so you can take the left ankle on top of your right thigh, and then lift your right shin parallel to the floor. Reach through to hold. So you're holding the right thigh now. Feet are flexed. Press the thigh into your hands. Keep the shoulders as relaxed to the floor as you can. Good. And again, you're dropping into the wideness of your sacrum. So the low belly draws in and you're pressing down through the lower back. Good. That's the thing, is it's not quite enough to just say, oh, well, I'm drawing my legs in and that's going to stretch, or I'm doing, the part with my ribs and that's going to stretch. Press down through your lower back, because this is going to help actually open up that space at the pelvis, at the sacrum. Which, if you didn't know, your sciatic nerve is a big nerve, juts out of multiple places through your sacrum and then runs through, the hip and the butt and down your legs. So if your sacrum is stuck in a weird place, very possible for there to be that squeeze on that nerve. Good. Nice, you guys. Start to draw that right knee in a little deeper, so you're actually dragging the legs in a little bit more. But as you bend the knees and drag the legs in, you're still pressing that thigh against the hands, resistance, and you're still drawing the belly in and pressing down into your lower back. Don't change that. So your tail should not curl up off the floor. You should be reaching through the lower spine to keep it down. Good. Nice, Virginia. Nice, Heidi. Good, Emily. Nice, Laura. Good, Allison. Good. And then release that, please. Slide your left leg all the way on top of your right so your knees stack. Separate your feet. Reach for your ankles or your shins. Again, the feet start wide. But then feel the thighs pressing against each other. Again, like you're trying to turn your knees inward just a little bit more. Good. And then feel as though you're squeezing the feet towards each other, even though they're staying wide. So again, it's just adding muscular energy to this position. And then the navel draws in, press down and wide through your lower back. Try and take as much of your sacrum to the floor as you can. Good. Right? So it's funny. These are usually the poses that we do at the end of class where your mind is like, oh, I'm not really practicing anymore. I'm just getting ready for Shavasana. I'm just doing this because it feels not so bad after I did all that other stuff. But if you practice this pose wholeheartedly, right? Really engaging.
It's like, good morning.
Yeah, it's a little bit of work. Because guess what? It's the work that creates the openness and that makes you aware of the openness. It's the embodiment that makes you aware of the infinite. Sweating. You haven't left the floor. my peanut gallery, the complaints. Good. Unwind your legs, please. Take both legs up to the sky. Good. Arms out wide, letter T, palms facing the floor. Again, find where your heels are right on top of your hips. Good. And then again, you're stretching up through the underside of the heels. Let your legs tilt to the right just a little bit. Keep that left shoulder rooting down. Again, the rib cage consistently drawing in and down to the floor. Good. Bring the legs back up to center. Let your legs go to the left. Good. And then come back up to center. Let the legs go to the right again. Again, not swinging the legs from one direction to the other. You're pausing in the middle, being very specific. Come back to center. Let the legs go to the left. Don't let them rock up towards your belly. Keep them in line with your hips. Good. And then back to center. Beautiful. Bend both knees in towards your chest. Squeeze them in. Scoot your hips to the right. Drop your knees to the left. Spinal twist. Even that, right? That little abdominal exercise, if you don't see the mimic, right, of what I just asked you to do, is to work the same rotation of your legs and your ribs that you're doing in this twist. This is just more exaggerated. Keep your knees in line with each other, please. So you're stacking your hip points on top of each other. And that right arm, if being out to the side feels like it's too much pull on the shoulder or on the chest or on the back, then stretch it up alongside your ear. You can still soften your rib cage back. You don't have to have the pull through your arm. Good. But I guarantee if you're anything like me, is there's a point in your practice where you've just tuned out. You're just doing it because it feels kind of good or it feels kind of fun or you feel satisfied that you've done some yoga today. Good job. You've done some yoga today. You can go back to ignoring yourself. You can go back to not paying attention. And really what we're asked to do is to stay present, stay aware. That whatever you awaken in your asana practice is so that the rest of your life you are more aware. Feel more. Not distracted by small things in the body. Maybe big things in the body, but you're not distracted by it. You're aware of yourself within it. Come back to center, please. Good. Knees in towards your chest for a moment. Squeeze them in. Good. And then stretch your legs straight up towards the sky again. So you can take your arms out wide if you'd like, palms facing down. And then you're going to cross your right ankle in front of your left. You can bend the knees just a little bit here so you don't have to have a straight leg. Start with bent knees. And then this is a little kind of curl into your belly. You can do a little rock on your pelvis where you then lift the feet, lift the butt up towards the ceiling. So it's almost like you're going to pretend you're going to come into shoulder stand, right? So you're squeezing and lifting the feet, lifting the butt up towards the ceiling. So again, there can be a little rock through the pelvis, but try and keep your shoulders relaxed. Don't clench your neck. Good. So this is really trying to work into your lower belly. So if there's a little rock in your pelvis, that's okay, but try and make it as minimal as possible. Good. Yeah. So if your feet are really angling up towards the top of your head, try and minimize that swing so that they pull straight up from your hips. Good. Pause for a second. Cross the other ankle on top. Same thing. Just equal opportunity on your legs. Good. Keep your shoulders as relaxed as you can. Press down through your lower ribs so that you're getting the whole power of your core. Lower belly and upper belly have to support each other. Good.
It definitely got hot.
Definitely got hot in here. Good. Release, please. Hugging the knees in towards your chest before I have a riot in the room here. Already too much core work, apparently. Take your knees wide, reach for your ankles or your feet. Happy baby.
Oh my goodness.
Good. Stacking the heels on top of the knees. Good. If your elbows can rest inside your knees, place them there. And then use that reference again to hug your knees in. Your inner knees squeeze in. And as your inner knees squeeze in, again, draw into that low belly, press down through the lowest part of your sacrum. So ignore the idea that you're going to get your knees to the floor. Who cares? Get your low back down to the floor, right? If that means your knees lift up higher, so be it. Swaha, right? Work the lower spine. Good. And then that little hug of the knees, you might find that you can then draw the low belly in more, get into that lower back. Nice. And then just relax the effort of the legs and let the hands draw the knees towards your armpits any amount. Maybe they go nowhere. That's fine. Good. And then draw the knees back together, please. Squeeze. Beautiful. Roll forward and back on the spine. Bring yourself all the way up to sit. Good. And then turn to come onto hands and knees facing the front of your mat. Some of you don't need to turn, but figure it out. Hands and knees on top of facing the front of your mat. Good. Plant the hands, tuck your toes, come into downward facing dog. Nice. Pedaling the feet a little bit if you need. Good. And then steady the heels, steady the hands. Beautiful. And then step the right foot between the hands, lunge. Good. Left foot steps a little wider to the left, turn the toes to 45 degrees. So drop the heel 45 degrees. Warrior one, inhale both arms up to the sky. Good. And then interlace your fingers, please. Press the heels of the hands up towards the sky and then straighten your front leg. Good. So both legs come straight. Turn that left hip forward, forward, forward. Square your pelvis. Pull up through your low belly. Draw in and up through your ribs. Good. And then bend the front knee again, keeping the arms stretching up towards the sky. So you're pulling through your side ribs and then letting the pelvis drop. Good. And then straighten the front leg again. Square your hips. Notice at what point when you start to bend the knee, your pelvis starts to fall open, rotate open. Bend the knee again. Try and keep your pelvis facing straight ahead. Pull up through your side ribs. Good. One more time. Straighten the front leg. Nice. Draw that outer left hip forward. Squeeze the feet so you get taller. That's it. Nice, Alice. Nice, Virginia. Good, Meredith. And then bend the knee again. Come back to warrior one. Good. Nice, you guys. And then reach back behind you. Interlace the fingers at the low spine. Spin your back heel up. Come into high lunge. So turn that left hip all the way forward. Good. Deep breath in and then bow inside the front thigh. Take the arms up and over any amount. Squeeze your feet towards each other. Scoop your low belly. Good. So the front knee moves over the front ankle. Your pelvis is going to drop just a little bit. Yeah. Nice, you guys. And then release the hands down to the floor. Place both hands inside the front foot. Make circles with that right hip. Good. You can drop the knee if you choose or keep it lifted. Nice, you guys. Again, it's so funny. Some of you are so gentle with your hip circles and some of you are like a hurricane. It's amazing. But become aware, again, of how you are unifying yourself with this body, how you treat it, right? You treat it in a way that is a little too rough because you're frustrated. Do you treat it a little bit too gently because you're afraid of finding your edges? Come back to stillness, please. Nice job. Good. Left hand plants right arm to the sky, spinal twist. Good. Optional here is to flex that right foot, drop onto the baby toe. Let your knee go wide. Let your chest drop open even more. Ribs in. Good. Open, open, open. Nice, Diane. Good, Anne. Beautiful, Linda. Nice, Harriet. And then release the foot to the floor. Release the hand to the floor. Nice. Sweep that right leg up and back behind you. Down dog split. Good. Bend the knee. Take your heel in towards your butt. Stack the right hip on top of the left. Good. Let your left heel soften towards the floor as you again lift that thigh away. Good. And then lift your left armpit higher and wider. That's it. Good. And then scooping the belly here. Almost feel like you're rounding into your ribs. Turn that right knee back down to the floor. Good. And then stretch the leg back out to split, straight leg. And then walk your hands back towards your back foot. So you're coming into like a standing split. If you're in the room here and you've got a wall, great. Use the wall. Walk your leg up the wall. Try and keep your pelvis pointing straight down so you keep that scoop in your belly. The scoop in your belly helps stabilize your back. Nice, Alana. Scoop the belly, scoop the belly, scoop the belly in your standing split. Good. Last breath, drop your chest. Awesome. And then walk your hands back forward, back to down dog split. Beautiful. Release that foot down to the floor, please. Slide forward to plank pose. I was going to have you do a one-legged plank. You're welcome. 2 feet. Slide forward to plank, upward push-up. Good. And then draw your right knee in towards your chest. Pull it forward. and then step it back to plank. Draw the left knee in towards your chest forward, and then step it back to plank. Shoulders don't move, just your knees. Right knee pulls in and back. Left knee pulls in and back. Right knee in and back. Left knee in and back. If you want to double time it, go ahead, like mountain climbers. Go. Stay very connected to yourself, though. Good. Keep your shoulders steady. Keep your chest up. Keep the back of your throat up. If you get lazy and you're working out, don't get lazy here. I'm watching you. Good. Back to plank pose, please. Downward facing dog, hips up. Breathe deep. And then knees to the floor, child's pose. Oh boy. Breathe deeply. This practice is for you to realize yourself. This embodiment is for you to realize yourself. Which means that all of the questioning, am I doing the right thing or the wrong thing? Is this situation good for me, bad for me? What's the lesson? What am I supposed to be learning so I can get through it and be done? Stop it. There are always going to be things. There are always going to be people. There are always going to be stuff going on. It's always going to be things to react to. This practice is for you to realize who you are, not to get rid of all of the problems. We get caught, we get stuck when we think that if we just try hard enough, we just work consistently enough, we just push enough, that we'll get there. And there is impossible. So instead, you go to a place where you know that you are here to realize yourself. Stop obsessing about other people. Stop obsessing about you and really look at what's beneath the surface of your mind. One more breath, please. Walk yourself back up onto hands and knees. Lord knows, how did I start that sequence? Downward facing dog. I'll remember. Or if I don't, you'll get something equally bizarre on the second side. I used to do that on purpose. I've taught classes where I purposefully do a completely different sequence on both sides just to mess with you and mess with me. Good. Left foot steps forward between the hands, I remember. Good. Right foot steps a little wider to the right. Drop your heel to 45 degrees. Inhale the arms up, warrior one. Good. Make sure you give yourself enough space with your feet, right and left, that you can turn your pelvis really forward. If you're in a position where that is not possible in this pose, change your feet so it's possible, because that is part of the orientation of this pose. Don't make it impossible for yourself. Interlace your fingers, heels of the hands up to the sky, ribs in, pull through your side waist, and then straighten your front leg. As you straighten the front leg, pull up more. Don't let the back arch. Pull your belly in, lift your pelvic bones. Good. Lift up, lift up, lift up. And then stay lifted, but bend your left knee. Come back to warrior one, pulling the thighs apart. Good. And then straighten the front leg again, pulling up through the side ribs, pulling up through the front of your belly, through the front of your pelvis. And then bend the knee again, come back to warrior one. Really good. Watch that right hip, Susan, that it doesn't fly out. Pull it forward. Good. Straighten the leg one more time. Again, pulling up, ribs in, belly in. If you're leaning back, bring your shoulders slightly forward. Dana, shoulders slightly forward, Mark slightly forward. Good. Bend the knee again, please. Warrior one. Beautiful. Legs should feel like they're the most powerful thing in the world. Good. Hold the pose, release your hands, interlace your fingers at the low spine. Good. Turn your back heel up so that you're turning that right hip forward into high lunge. Good. And then as you exhale, bow forward, take the shoulders inside the front knee. Take the arms up and over any amount. If your left butt cheek is pushing out to the side, draw it in towards the midline. Good. And then scoop your belly so you're actually sending your left knee forward deeper into the lunge, and then pull back through the top of that right thigh. Good. Nice, you guys. And then release the hands down to the floor. Both hands inside the front foot, please. Make circles with that left knee. You can drop the back knee to the floor if you choose, or keep it lifted. Good. If you are a hurricane in your hip circles, make it a controlled hurricane. Good. I've been using this sort of analogy. We talk about the image of the Bodhisattva, right? The ones who have kind of figured out the path out of their struggles or out of their embodiment. And the image that we say is that it's like there's a walled garden, and enlightenment is the beautiful garden that we're reaching for. And the Bodhisattvas see that it's there, and they realize that there's so many people on the other side of the wall that just don't even know. And so they sit on top of the wall and they say, hey, what you're looking for is over here. It's over, just come over here. I'll help you up. Let's go. And it's said that they take vows that they will continue to do this until everyone finds their way. And so we say, oh, how beautiful. But when we get into that mentality and say, oh, I'm going to wait for you to figure it out before I find my own realization, we get stuck. Come back to stillness, stuck sitting on a wall, right? Like Humpty Dumpty. Good. Lift that back knee again if it's on the floor. Right hand plants left arm to the sky, spinal twist. Good. Front knee is still over the front ankle. Optional. Flex the foot. Drop the knee wide. Lean onto that right hand. Open the chest. Draw your ribs back. Belly back. Thigh drops wide. Wide, wide, wide. Let it go. Nice, Ralph. Good, Lena. Nice, Lisa. Good. And then release the foot. Nice, Alana. Release the hands. Beautiful. Take that left leg up and back behind you. Down dog split. You're so close to the end of the sequence. Don't give up. Good. Bend the knee, kick your heel in towards your butt, stack the left hip on top of the right. Yeah. Right armpit lifts and widens. Beautiful. Good. Let that right heel soften towards the floor. You don't have to push it down, but just stop holding it away. Feel the stretch in the calf, the ankle. Good. And then scooping your belly, draw your ribs in, point that left knee back down to the floor. Keep the belly scooped as you straighten the leg back to down dog split. And then start to walk your hands backwards towards that right foot, keeping your belly scooped, support the lower spine. Again, if you have a wall behind you, walk your foot up the wall. Good. Keep trying to turn your pelvic bones down towards the floor. Turn your baby toe down towards the floor. Standing split. Really good, Susan. Nice, Laura. Good, Allison. You got it. You can walk back a little further. I know you can. Good. Belly scooped, please. Yes. Yeah, I don't care how high the leg goes. I don't care what your back's doing at the moment. I care that your belly is scooped. Yep. And then walk your hands back forward. Keep the navel engaged. Don't drop that. Back to down dog split. Good. And then release that left foot down to the floor. Slide forward to plank pose. Lower down to your belly. Coming through knees first if you need. Rise up, cobra. Oh. Press back, child's pose. Yeah. See, when they're working hard in the room here, they don't complain. When you're really engaged in your life, you don't have time to complain. Right? So this thought is we are so willing to reach for a goal or an attitude or something that is outside of us, even if it's for, oh, if I become more peaceful, then other people will benefit. So great. So I'm doing this for you. Stop it. You're doing it for you first, always. Because if you can't realize the fullness of yourself, then everything that you hope to bring into the world for someone else is going to still be filtered through your struggles, your limitations, your idea of what it should be. The goal of yoga, if there is a goal, is to realize yourself, your soul. And through that, what flows through you in that realization will uplift the world, benefit the world. That's a side benefit. It's the French fries. But practice wholeheartedly for you. Good. One more deep breath into the lower spine. Maybe give a little squeeze to your knees again to support the back. Then walk yourself back up to hands and knees. Good. Stretch your right leg back behind you, toes tucked on the floor. Good. Drop that heel flat to the floor, please. And take your right arm up to the sky. So an open twist. Good. And a deep breath in. As you exhale, wrap that right arm in the front of your chest, like you're reaching underneath your left rib cage. So it comes around the front of your belly, reaches underneath that left rib cage. Keep your right heel flat on the floor. And then inhale, unwind it, bring it all the way back up to the sky. Good. And then exhale, bring it around again, drawing that arm underneath the left ribs. And then take it all the way back up. Nice. Opening the chest wider. And then one more time, bring it around in front of you, wrap it underneath, curling into your belly, into your low back. And then take that arm back up to the sky. Breathe. Good. Lean onto the left hand, please. Float the right leg up parallel to the floor. Good. Optional, bend the right knee, kick your heel back towards your butt, reach for the foot or the ankle. Good. And then as you do that, draw your low rib cage in. Again, try and lift your hip points up towards your lower ribs and draw that heel towards your butt so you get that feeling of pulling the top of the thigh away from the pelvis. Good. And then extend the leg back to straight, please. Beautiful. Unwind yourself back to hands and knees.
I think I went the wrong way.
That's okay. I forgive you. Little cat and cow. Inhale the spine, lifting long through the belly. Exhaling the spine, rounding through the back of the body. Good. Liberation, the path we're in our minds and our languaging in English, right? We say liberation. I'm free. I'm out of here. I'm done. Embodiment, we're like, oh, that sounds like a lot of work. But the word for it in Sanskrit, that path downward, is bhukti, which means enjoyment. It doesn't mean work. It means play. It means joy, happiness. I get to experience all of this. As bizarre as that sounds. Come back to stillness, please. Take your left leg back behind you, toes tucked on the floor. Drop the heel to flat. Take the left arm up to the sky. Good. And then it's a deep breath in to reach open through the chest. As you exhale, wrap that left arm around underneath you, like you're reaching underneath the right rib cage. Curl. So don't just reach, but curl. Pull into your back rib cage. Pull into your low belly so your back feels expansive. And then take your left arm back up to the sky. Don't arch the spine when you do that. Good. And then reach the arm forward and under again, rounding. So pull the navel in. Keep that right heel flat to the floor. Keep that leg engaged. Take the arm back up to the sky. Good. Don't arch the back. Don't push the shoulder forward. One more time. Reach the round underneath you. Round into your back, into your low belly. Keep that left heel flat. And then take the left arm back up to the sky. Nice. Lean onto that right hand. Take your left leg up parallel to the floor. So that kneeling Ardha Chandrasana variation. Good. Optional. Bend the knee. Kick your heel towards your butt. Reach back for the foot or the ankle. Good. And then as you're doing that, you find the back bend and then draw your ribs in, lift your pelvic bones up and draw that thigh back even more. So again, you're trying to pull the top of the thigh and the front of the pelvic bones away from each other. Good. Lisa, drop that heel down in space just a little bit. There you go. Awesome, you guys. And then extend all the way back out. Nice, Heidi. Nice, Harriet. Good, Diane. Good, Emily. And then release all the way back to hands and knees. Good. Little baby cat cow. So again, almost just like those pelvic tilts where you're just gently massaging the spine up and back. Good. Again, if you typically are a hurricane in your cat and cow, be just a little breeze. Good. Nice, you guys. And then come back to stillness, please. Beautiful. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Good. Step the right foot forward between the hands. Left foot comes forward to meet it. Standing forward, fold top of your mat. Good. Bend your knees, drop your belly onto your thighs, wrap the arms around the backs of your legs and hug. And then as you press into your heels, scoop your belly, pull your belly away from your thighs. Good. And then widen your inner knees just a little bit. And then start to press your hips up towards the sky, keeping yourself hugged in. Drop the head so the neck is not involved here. It's just hips pressing up to the sky as you press down through your heels. Widen the inner knees, relax the shoulders. Good. Beautiful. And then release the hands down to the floor, please. Bend the knees, drop your seat for chair, moving the hips back in space so your knees are not coming forward beyond the ankles, or at least not much. And then take the arms up alongside your ears. Draw the belly away from your thighs. Good. Nice. And shoot that left hip a little wider to the left. There you go. And then come all the way back up to stand. Nice job. Hug your right knee up in towards your chest. Squeeze it in. Good. And then cross that right thigh over the left, wrapping the legs for eagle pose. Bend your left knee, stretch your arms up to the sky. Don't worry about the arms. Take the arms up. Good. Almost like you're in a cross-legged chair instead of thinking of it as eagle. Keep the arms up. Just bend into the legs. Draw your low belly in. Keep reaching through the side ribs. Good. Squeeze those shins together. Not just your thighs, but your shins. Squeeze them. Good. And then come all the way back up. Arms stay up. Hug your right knee up in towards your chest. Try not to put it down. Good. And then step the foot down to the floor. Left knee comes in. Use your hands if you'd like. Cross the left thigh over the right, wrapping the legs for eagle. So the inner thighs touch, the outer shins touch. Bend your right knee and then take the arms up alongside your ears. Good. So one of our challenges in eagle is that we don't like to be vertical. We like to immediately wrap the arms and then curl or lean forward. We're ideally trying to stay vertical in this position. So drop your hips and pull up through your side ribs. Good. Susan, push that right hip out wide to the right and pull it back. So the double wrap of the ankles is actually pulling your pelvis out of alignment. There you go. Squeeze your shins together, you guys. Alana, left hip back and wide. There you go. Nice, Meredith. Nice, Laura. Good. And shoot that left hip higher and wider. Good. Come all the way back up. Squeeze that left knee in towards your chest. No hands. Pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up. Nice. And then release the foot down. Plant the feet. Bend your knees. Drop back into chair. Don't think about it. Just get in chair. Don't fidget. Good. You're like, oh God, I heard your mind say chair. I said, yes, plant your feet, drop into chair. Take your hands back behind you, interlace your fingers. Good. Draw your ribs in, chest up, drop your seat. Just because you clasp your hands doesn't mean you can come out. Good. And then start to straighten the legs, drop your head, take the arms up and over any amount, standing forward fold. This is what I mean, right? This is for your benefit, for your enlightenment. And every chance we get, our brain is like, no, not going to do it. Not going to stay there. No, thank you. Let me out. Release the hands to the floor, please. Good. Step your feet nice and wide. Turn the toes out, both feet. Bend your knees, come into squat. Maybe preferable to chair. I don't know. Yeah, a little bit. I know. Again, with the elbows inside the knees, give a little squeeze of your knees in. And as your knees squeeze in, feel the baby toes of your feet press down into the floor. So again, you're working this rotation of the lower legs. Good. And then a little scoop to your low belly. Lift your butt slightly up and back. So it's like you're trying to widen your sit bones. That's it. And then draw your tail down towards the floor without losing that wideness. Good. Now hold the legs, take your arms straight up towards the sky. Yep. Now your navel's really got to work because you don't have your hands to press into. See, resistance is really helpful. Good. And then release the hands gracefully. Come on down to your butt. Ah, excellent. Stretch your legs out in front of you. I know. We still have like 15 minutes left in class. How's that going to work? Legs stretched out in front of you, please. Bend your right knee. Bring the bottom of the foot to the inside of the left leg. Janu Shirshasana. Let that right knee go wide. Good. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Little twist over the left thigh, please, and then bow forward. Good. Paying attention even here that extended leg, the left inner thigh is rolling in and down. So you're trying to keep the connection of that thigh with the foot. Good. Similar to what you would do in tree pose. So you can consider this a seated tree pose. Pretty much same position on the pelvis. Turn your belly. Left rib cage goes wide. Right rib cage spins forward. Nice. Liberation is not escape. Embodiment is not a prison. Your body and your mind, whatever their challenges are not designed to make you suffer. That's where we get into that whole karma thing. Like, I'm here because of my karma. You know, you're here because the soul wishes to experience. So we get into this excuse, if I could just get rid of my karma, then my life would be easy and I wouldn't have all of this problems and all this stuff, and I wouldn't have to keep doing this. You're not here because of that. That is the way that you learn yourself again and again and again, the way that you reveal yourself again and again and again. This is the soul that I am. I find it through this conversation, through that challenge, through this problem. But it never had the ability, has never had the ability to diminish what you are. And our whole problem, our whole big question is that we don't know consciously, we don't believe consciously what we are. So we practice these weird poses to figure it out. Practice meditation so that maybe we catch a glimpse. But we do it thinking we're doing it for somebody else. And so when it comes down to that moment when we could really feel it, we turn away and say, no, thanks, I'll wait for someone else to do it first. I'll wait for someone else to get there. Can you stop holding yourself back in your practice, in your life? This practice is for you. This life is for you. It's not because of someone else that you're here. It's not even because of a past you that you're here. Walk yourself back up, please. Good. Switch sides. Take the right leg forward. Bend the left knee, bottom of the foot to the inside of the right leg. Let your knee go wide. Good. Again, setting that left inner thigh so it's rolling slightly in and down. You might even have to roll the flesh of your thigh wide so you can really feel that left sit bone settled on the floor. Again, what does this do is we're actually moving some of that muscular tissue so that if it is positioned in a way where it's compressing something, nerves or blood flow or anything, as we move it wide, and then the stretch has a little bit more space. Good. Arms up, twist a little bit to the right, turning your belly towards that right leg, and then forward fold. Keeping that feeling that your right inner thigh is rolling in and down towards that left foot. So easy way to gauge that, if your toes are falling out to the side, your inner thigh is rolling, right? So keep those feet drawing up towards the ceiling, inner thigh rolling down. Good. Try to soften that feeling that you do yoga to improve yourself. Nothing wrong with knowing that the body is capable of a lot and that we can practice to help find that capability. It's great to know that yoga helps you work through struggles or work through injuries or challenges. But if you only do it for that purpose, then you will stay exactly as limited as you are. Mind will continue to create for you more challenges to fix, more problems to overcome, more people to try and escape from. They say the world is the world. While you're in it, you are in it. But you are still a soul. So you practice to remember that, realize that, and the rest of those interactions become easier because you're not trying to escape through them or escape from them. Liberation and embodiment are the same path. Good. Walk yourself back up, please. Good. If you're sitting up on a blanket, come down off of the blanket and then bring the feet in front of you, bend both knees. Good. Fingertips come just behind you. So you're sitting on your sit bones up towards the front edge of your sit bones, up on your fingertips. So not full weight on your hands. And then come up on the tippy toes of your feet. Knees are bent up on your tippy toes. Good. So fingertips right behind you, scooping that low belly away from your thighs. You can have a little bend in your elbows, but I don't want you leaning back and hunching into your shoulders. So keep your chest up. Good. Balancing on your sit bones on the floor, sit bones on the floor. Good. Lift just your right leg or right foot so that your knees stay in line, but right leg comes straight, all the way straight, all the way straight. There it is. And then drop those toes back to the floor, straighten your left leg, still up on tippy toes. Release that foot down, right leg up. It's like you're doing a little can-can dance. Good. Left leg and right leg. and left leg. Good. The other foot can be on the floor, Allison, when you're straightening one leg. There you go. Nice, Lynn. You got it. Good. Keep your chest lifted. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Don't look so miserable. This is when you start singing your Om Namah Shivaya instead of, oh my effing whatever. Om Namah Shivaya. Good. Nice. Lift both shins parallel to the floor. Fingertips are still on the floor. I'm being so gracious. Knees are bent. Lift your chest up. Pull your thighs in towards your belly. Walk your fingers back just a little bit. Good. Lean your shoulders back, straighten your legs out towards the floor. Lean back. So it's like you're coming into a straight-legged boat pose. Lean back. And then bend your knees and lift your chest back up to where you started. I'm letting you use your hands. I'm being so gracious. And then straighten the legs and lean back. And then pull in. Nice. Chest up. And then lean back. Again, you can use your hands here. And then pull in. Knees in. Chest up. 2 more times. Lean back. Straighten the legs. And then pull up. Pull in. Last time, lean back, straighten the legs, go as low as you want to go, and then pull back in. That's the hard part. Good. Release the feet to the floor. Let the knees go wide. Badakanasana. Apparently, this is what core work and sciatica stuff looks like.
Oh my goodness. This all started with the legs up the wall.
I know. It's the legs up the wall that really lit a fire under me. Forward fold, please, in your Badakanasana. I see people in legs up the wall, and I just see red. I do not. I'm kidding. Legs up the wall is so valuable. You should do it every single day if you have a wall.
Keep thinking about pancakes.
Keep thinking about pancakes.
You can eat pancakes.
Om Namah Shivaya. Come away from the pancakes. Come away. Or maybe go to the pancakes, right? If that's what's going to convince you that your life is not so hard. Right? If you need to eat more pancakes, eat more pancakes. Good. Walk yourself back up, please. Nicely done. Come on back onto your backs. Yay. Yay, she says, without knowing what I'm planning. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's too late in the class for me to torture you much more. Yeah. I can suggest this, though. Straighten your legs out in front of you. Good. Take the arms alongside you, palms facing down. Take the legs together, point your toes. Good. Drawing into the lowest place of your belly. So again, drawing in and up through the low belly, drawing the low rib cage in. Take your legs up off the floor just a couple of inches. Good. And then draw into the front of the ribs, hollow the upper back, upper belly, lift your shoulders up, look towards your navel. So this is considered full boat pose. Float the arms up off of the floor. Good. If you can, just reaching straight towards your feet. Yep. Don't make it harder than it has to be. Good. You can bend the knees here if you need to. Good. I will not suggest breath of fire. That's for another day. Good. But 2 more breaths. Believe in yourself. And then slowly release. Excellent. Bend your knees. Please plant your feet. Take your right ankle over your left thigh. Lift that left shin parallel to the floor. Reach through to hold. Good. For a moment, keep the resistance. So pressing the thigh against your hands, press the low back down into the floor. This should sound familiar. Good. And then hug the thigh in a little deeper. Squeeze the legs in towards your belly, but continue to press down and wide through your low back. Probably this feels a little different than it did at the beginning of class. Good. And then listen, release the thigh, but take your left foot down to the floor. Keep your right ankle stacked. Good. And then you're letting your legs drop to your left. To your left. So your right foot is going to come flat to the floor. So it's not a twist. Right foot flat to the floor. Keep the ankle against the thigh. Angle that right knee up towards the ceiling as much as you can. And then try and bring the right side of your sacrum back down to the floor. So it's almost like you're trying to do the reverse of a twist, right? So you're drawing backwards through your rib cage, drawing back through your lower back. So that right thigh bone is going to actually soften into the hip socket, but you're keeping the foot on the floor as much as you can. You got it. If I see you doing something crazy, I will tell you. If you are currently where I can't see you on your camera and you're doing something crazy, enjoy yourself. because I can't do anything about it. Good. Practice for your own realization. Hold that as your deepest and strongest desire, that whatever is necessary for you to experience that, do it. And through that, everything else that you wish for, that you hope that a yoga practice or a spiritual practice will bring you, it will come. But if you're practicing to get those things, then you will struggle for them more than necessary. And you might miss the moment where you can really just have the realization, I am a soul. This embodiment is not a prison. Liberation is not escape. You are already free. So we go to the crown chakra, that is the beginning of the chakra system. It does not begin at the root and grow into the crown, as the crown spins all of the other chakras from itself. They're always united with that. But if we view them as separate, we get caught in the separateness. So we go back to the crown. Everything that you wish to be, you already are. You just forgot. Or you stopped believing it. Come back to center, please. Good. Take the right thigh all the way on top of the left, stacking the knees. Separate your feet. Reach for the ankles or the shins. Good. Little squeeze of your feet towards each other. Press that low back down to the floor. Good. And then release the legs, please. Left ankle comes over top of right thigh. Hold the right thigh for a moment, drawing the legs in towards the belly, pressing the low back down to the floor. I think every time we hear words like this practice is for you, we have to keep reinterpreting it. Because I know even when I say it, my own mind is like, what are you talking about? This practice is so that I'm not so insane for the other people in my life. No. Practice is for you. It has nothing to do with them. And it's such a weird feeling, right? Because we're asked to include everyone in our yoga practice, and we do. But don't do it for them, do it for you. Good. Release the thigh, please. Take your right foot back to the floor, and then let your legs drop to your right. Good. So that left foot is going to be flat on the floor. You're trying to angle the knee up towards the ceiling any amount that it will go. And then you're drawing the left side of your low back, left side of your rib cage down towards the floor. So it's a feeling of hollowing in. If you feel a lot of restriction at the lower back, trying to do that, or at the hip, let the knee angle more towards the floor. The left knee angles more towards the floor so that you can press back through your left butt cheek. You can press back through the left side of your sacrum. Then once you've done that, right, because you're settling the thigh in the hip socket, then you can start to rotate the knee again, maybe. Good. So again, play with it. If the position feels like it doesn't make a total sense to you, play with it a little bit, but you're trying to draw that left side of your rib cage and low back down to the floor. You got it, Allison. Nice. Good. Everything you want from your practice is in one place. That one place is in you. And it's not just finding the magical combination of asana and breath work and whatever. And laughing to myself, I often think of the ancient yogis and how they didn't have props and they didn't have, wall space because they were living out in the forest and whatever. They didn't have so much. And yet the practice developed in those conditions. right? So many practitioners, even the teachers that we love, as their practice, their realization developed in conditions that are so much harder fundamentally than what we experience here now. So it's just funny, right? That our internal resistance to experiencing that realization, that's universal, right? Doesn't matter what your conditions are, is that inner resistance can be there. Call it the ignorance, right? I ignore the fact that I am a soul. I actively try not to know it. So I need yoga to convince myself that I'm doing what I should in order to know it. It's a funny game. Take one more breath, pressing back through that left side sacrum. And then come back up to center. Across the left thigh all the way on top of the right, stacking the knees, separating the feet, reach for the ankles or the shins. Good. And then unwind, squeezing the knees in towards your chest, please. If you'd like a final spinal twist, go ahead and take it. Twist of your choice. If you're ready to just stretch yourself out into Shavasana, feel free to do that. And as you're ready, stretching the legs out in front of you, let the feet drop wide, arms alongside you, palms up. Shavasana, again, a pose where we tune out and we think about pancakes, or we think about going on a walk, or we think about our dog, whatever we think about. Instead, can you practice it as this open invitation to experience your soul, or that's what you're aching for, asking for. In this moment where you're letting go, the idea that you are a body and a mind, and you let it be that you drop into what else you are, what more you are. Very gently bring the awareness back to the breath. The body begin to stretch, move, whatever ways serve it well. As you're ready, draw the knees in towards your chest. Roll to your right side. Take a moment before you begin to push the floor away. Come back to an upright seated position. Hands coming together, palm to palm at the heart. Just for a moment again, feel the breath as it moves along the spine, up and down. They say the heart chakra, or the heart center, is where those flows of embodiment coming down and mukti, liberation, rising up as they meet the center of the heart. And that's where you really live, because that's where there is the full awareness that this body and this mind are just an experience of your soul to reference. So you have never lost that connection. You never can lose that connection. But you can do everything in your power to pretend it isn't real. And you can do everything in your power to keep struggling to hold it back while you wait for everyone else to figure their stuff out. So don't wait. This practice is for you. This life is for you. So have one desire. Yogi Swami Satchidananda said this: if you have one desire, it should be for your own peace, your own enlightenment. Let nothing stand in the way of that. And everything else you want will come through that, through you. There's one goal, and that is to know yourself. We'll close the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week until I see you again. If you didn't notice the email, just a heads up that my Thursday class that was at 4:30 is now starting this week, is going to be 6 o'clock. And it will be both virtual and in person. So if you are interested in that, my Thursday 6 o'clock class starts this week, and you can sign up to be in the studio with me. So there you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If you're staying for meditation, feel free to stay on or hop off, come back, whatever. We start at 11.
Thank you.
I will